Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. All right, there's a lot we have to talk about. This is going to be a very intense video, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. Stock futures cratered on Monday as investors braced for the economic fallout from everything that's been happening over the last few weeks. As of 5:10 a.m. on Monday, futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average implied an opening drop of more than 1,300 points. My friend sent this to me in a text message. What a way to wake up to hear that even the futures have implied over the weekend that stock markets are about to tumble even further than they've already done. Stock futures tumbled early Monday morning as investors brace for the economic fallout, while a shocking all-out oil price war added to the anxiety. We'll get to that in a couple of seconds. As of 5:10 a.m. Monday, futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average indicated an opening drop of more than 1,300 points. The S&P 500 futures and NASDAQ 100 futures also indicated significant losses at Monday's open. The sharp declines in the futures market signaled more turbulence ahead after a roller coaster week that saw the S&P 500 swing up and down by more than 2.5% for 4 days straight. Amid the market turmoil, investors continue to seek safer assets amid additional fears. So what we have now is that a few countries around the world who already were not doing so well economically appear to be doing even worse, as one might expect, as markets around the world are tumbling. And even after stimulus packages, governments printing, creating money, and pushing it into the markets has not done a gosh darn thing. The yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury note dropped below 0.5%, last trading at 0.479. Meanwhile, here we go. Here's the crazier part. I mean, if all the rest of it wasn't already insane. Meanwhile, CME FedWatch Tracker indicated that traders expect the Federal Reserve to slash interest rates again by 0.75 of a percentage point at its upcoming March meeting. Chances for a 75 basis point cut topped 80% Sunday evening, compared with 65% chance it had indicated on Friday. The Fed Watch tool last pointed to a 70.8% chance of a 75 basis point cut, while changes for a full percentage point cut were cut to 29.2%. You might remember a couple of days ago, we were discussing that the Federal Reserve had just cut interest rates. The reason, once again, why this is done is to make taking out debt cheaper for larger players in the money game. And therefore, if debt is cheaper to take out, especially as the economy looks like it may not potentially be doing well, then people then rush and say, well, this is very cheap money. This is very cheap debt. I don't mind taking this on. So I'm pretty certain last week or the week before the rate was cut, I'm pretty sure it was 1.25%. I think that was it. So we may see an interest rate of 0.75% coming relatively soon, which, I mean, silver lining, if you were looking to buy $100 million worth of property, there you go. The futures indicate, I mean, it's just really a lot. And like, we're not even into the video yet. The futures indicating that there's going to be a drop, or could be a potential drop, has already sparked fears in markets that haven't even opened yet. And they've sparked fears in other markets that have already opened, as other markets are now going down. On top of this, for those of you who do not know or have not seen, Northern Italy has put 16 million people on, I guess the word would be lockdown, and they cannot enter and or leave this part of Northern Italy. And as such, markets are also reacting to that because it's 16 million people. So if you may notice I'm choosing my words in a certain way. This is because over the last couple of weeks, YouTube has made it their priority. If you say this word right here. For those of you not looking at the screen, you should know which word I am not saying. If you say that word, your video gets taken down. This has happened to a couple of other YouTubers, and it's just quite annoying because it stops the spread of information that could be spread. Instead, I mean, you get the point of what I'm saying. I think I'm hopefully choosing my words correctly, but this is why I'm avoiding saying certain things, because YouTube has been taking these videos down as they may be spreading fear. I'm not exactly sure what the actual official note about it is, but yes, this happened over the weekend. I had a friend in Vancouver who was looking to visit her family, and she actually didn't go. And she was telling us that she was very happy that she did not go, because she would have been in this area. On top of that as well, it says Saudi Arabia slashed official crude selling prices for April in a sudden U-turn from previous attempts to support the oil market as global demand declines. So as one might imagine, many people around the world are not traveling as frequently. There are many industries that are being heavily affected right now. And as such, with the stock futures tumbling and people anticipating, no one knows if this is going to happen. This is simply an anticipation that other world markets could also tumble. We also have the added pressure that petrol prices are also and have not been doing well for the last couple of weeks. There are many regions that are reliant on said petrol and oil. And I believe, according to current accounts, I think it is Saudi Arabia and Russia. They have both slashed their prices for petrol/oil by around 30%. This one says 20% earlier. I read 30. I don't know if it's been a fluctuation or what. The point is they're trying to make sure that people buy it, accumulate it, because this is how many people it's very, I hope that after all of this is done, hopefully soon, and I know that it won't happen, but I guess it's just more so for my sake of being, that people simply realize that we have a very fragile economy and that we should maybe restructure it, reformat it. This has been going on for a good 8.5 weeks, maybe a bit less, maybe a day or two more. And the world's economy, we're not doing well. Imagine if this continues until summer. If this is what 8 weeks of this can do, just imagine by the time we get to June. So, yes, we are, I mean, I'll continue on and then I'll give you my final thought on this situation. Right. Also, as well, it says parts of the financial markets are pricing in a global recession. I have a couple of friends here who are into, I mean, they're not into crypto so much, but they're into the global economy. They know people who are into global economy, other, what have you, into traditional markets. And a friend, we were discussing what's been happening over the last couple of weeks, how markets have been falling. I was actually quite surprised because she brought it up, and I'm used to people never bringing up anything financial with me. So it was a breath of fresh air, if you will. And she said that one of her friends had, and I can't name the name of the firm. It's very well known that he was a worker there. He doesn't own it, but he said that they had been told weeks ago to start pricing in a recession, to start pricing in a decline in the markets, i.e., a slow sell-off of the things that they were holding in anticipation of other people selling off. So that should prices continue to drop, that when it reaches, according to their metrics, a bottom in the price, that they can then rebuy all the assets that they were selling off. But she said, yeah, they've been told for weeks. And this is, once again, this is what a friend told me about her friend. Take it how you will. But one can only assume that this has been happening around the world. Usually there are very good price indicators that tell major banks and corporations and industries when things are looking a bit shaky, when they're overbought, oversold. And we have seen massive sell-offs over the last couple of weeks. And this is why the one today, almost said if markets open. when markets do open will be a bit of a breath holder, because if the futures are indicating a crash down, as we've seen, usually when Bitcoin's futures markets indicate a drop, you know what happens? We tend to drop. So if there is a bearish nature around the world global markets, like we've seen the last couple of weeks, then one can only assume. I mean, we were discussing the potential of a global economic recession for quite a while now, just maybe not so much in this fashion. And I wonder how far it will go, simply because it currently shows no signs of stopping. Maybe we actually might, and this is the best, I mean, not the best part, but a silver lining is that if things do look oversold or they are priced lower than actually makes sense, people will then buy, and this could then cause a jump in the traditional markets. But I mean, it's just really a lot of the stuff that's going on is, in my personal opinion, after discussing it with a couple of friends who are into crypto and into, you know, little schmids of the traditional market, a lot of this is very overhyped, played out, outplayed. It seems to be more of a panic than maybe should be panicked. I don't know how to end that sentence. On top of this, as well, as you might have imagined, Bitcoin and other crypto prices dropped soon after a plunge in oil prices. Besides, Bitcoin lost its position as a result of so Bitcoin dropped by, I think, $1,400, $1,200 over the last 12 hours. I can't give you an exact time frame. What's been happening is that a lot of people are saying that Bitcoin's price isn't due to the other things we were just talking about, that it could actually be a couple of other factors. It says that today, the beginning of the trading session has become the worst this year. After a massive sell-off on Sunday, markets have not managed to recover. As a result, cryptocurrencies have suffered significant drops. Bitcoin's price declined by 9.3%, whatever, in 24 hours. Ethereum lost 10%, Litecoin lost 14%, XRP is down almost 10%. This list of cryptos has become victims, can be continued. Who wrote this article? Notably, the Bitcoin price declined significantly in less than 45 minutes. At the moment of writing, it's around 74. Yeah, it's 70. Sorry, all the numbers on the page are kind of confusing me. The point is, Bitcoin dropped below 8,000. That was the main thing. We had news before, and this is where it all gets kind of annoying and confusing. The news that we had before is that Bitcoin was looking relatively healthy around the $9,000 range. The questions then is that would we fall below 87? Would we fall below 84, as these apparently were resistance points? And in one fell swoop, we fell below it. But it doesn't appear that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are down because of the other things in the traditional markets. We also have our own little stints of things that are actually going on. Let me see if I can find the actual information. A whole bunch of other random stuff around here. Oil prices. Nope, it's not even right here. Yeah, oil prices. So this is the one. Bitcoin began its sudden crash due to another. Here's what they claim to be the reason for the Bitcoin price sell-off. As many other people have stated before, that now my hands are in the air, bear with me, that there is little correlation between Bitcoin and traditional markets, or rather, before, when traditional markets have dropped, Bitcoin has gone up and or slithered sideways. However, it appears to them that apparently there has been another giant sell-off from the Plus token pyramid scheme. Analysts are suggesting as BTC to USD lost its $8,000 support. According to various online commentators citing blockchain data, participants in the $2.9 billion scheme are again attempting to rid themselves of their Bitcoin. Little bit of a public service announcement. When I tell, and this is why I say this, when I tell people, or when I say I'm not telling you what to do with your money, to really pay attention to where you're putting your money, to make sure that if you're investing in something in the cryptocurrency space, that it's legitimate. If you have no idea where else to put your money, heavily research and then potentially invest in just Bitcoin. If nothing else, there may be many other great coins out there. The fact that there was a pyramid scheme that was able to acquire $2.9 billion from people is a major problem. Everybody is so desperate to have the newest, coolest, most fashionable new coin out there, as opposed to just going to what seems to be the strongest. Ergo, the Twitter account that closely tracks Plus Tokens activities, put the total funds involved at around 13,000 Bitcoin, or roughly 210 million at the current market price. This time, Ergo said the coins were going to mixing services to hide their traceability. For those of you who have no idea what a mixing service is, if you pretty much put your Bitcoin into a website, a mixing service, and they send you a different Bitcoin of the same exact value. So if you were trying to send one Bitcoin, the other one Bitcoin gets, it's kind of a way to be untraceable, but watch out because governments also don't care for those as well. 2 feeder addresses have been identified, shedding their balances on the 5th of March. It was 4 days ago. They said, been looking and theorizing about this for months, and I can't see a scenario where the coins aren't being sold, at least to some degree. They said this was likely obvious to the exchange starting in September. The accounts would have been frozen then. The account added, however, that sell-offs were now occurring at a much slower rate compared to a more intense period of activity in August of last year. So I saw this. Hold on, half a second. Have to have a sip of tea. That was the fanciest thing I've said all day. This has been one of the larger, majorer newses out there discussing why Bitcoin's price has dropped. It appears to be, according to many people, that the scam from this has a large amount of Bitcoin left, and they're selling off on the market. And we've seen before in the past when whales, people with large amounts of anything, especially in the cryptocurrency space, move their coins, especially moves their coins onto an exchange, that people begin to panic. So that's one thing. The second part, it says Bitcoin and crypto markets are teetering from a massive sell, and it's just this close to the halving, which is also a lot of, oh my gosh, like there's just so much happening. It's almost impossible. I'll just kind of talk more freely as opposed to trying to choose my words, because there's so much happening over one period of time. Like it's not, if all of this was happening over the course of a month, it'd be very different. But the fact that this is all taking place over the last 24 to 36, 48 hours is a bit absolutely insane. So a lot of the people who were, not even that they were bullish on the Bitcoin halving price situation, it's more like people are wondering what's now going to happen to Bitcoin's price during the halving. Because as of right now, we are anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks away from Bitcoin's halving. A lot of people have stated before, and we saw articles about this, that because of the increased hash rate of Bitcoin's network and the amount of people who've been mining and so, that Bitcoin's halving might be sped up, and we might see Bitcoin's halving in April. This is different from the May that we were told that we were going to see. So we are relatively close to it. And the fact that we are so close to Bitcoin's halving, one of the most significant halvings out there, and Bitcoin's price continues to tumble, is kind of, a lot of people are like, what's going on? Because one would expect, as we're getting to an inflation rate lower than normal fiat, that regardless of what was happening, that Bitcoin would perform very well. And I'll give you a little thing in my head as well. I've noticed that a lot of people, when we talk about actual bulls, or even whales, I'll give you that animal. When people talk about the companies who are storing Bitcoin in mountains, in caves, in Coinbase, all these other like really cold storage, I think a lot of it is being done. Now, bear with me, this is my mind. So there are tons of major players who are trying to I guess in some way make sure that Bitcoin fully succeeds. Bitcoin looks poised to do very well, but when we have instances and situations like this where people can get very scared because of movements of coins or potential sell-offs of coins, I felt for like a while now that there are probably tons of people who are accumulating tons of Bitcoin simply to just have it in cold storage. Of course, they'll be super rich, what have you, and whatnot. When you decrease the supply, you stop situations like this one, the Plus token scam, or the one that we're going to talk about right now from happening. It decreases the supply, and what ends up running around also increases the price of Bitcoin. But you make sure that in the future that you don't have situations like this, if that makes any sense to anyone. I feel like people are decreasing the supply of Bitcoin by buying up as much as possible to lock it away so that in future instances we don't have whales moving their coins around to cause it, because it has a negative connotation for the asset. Like imagine you and your friends being able to, imagine you had $1 million in your bank account. Imagine you moved $1 million from one country to another and the price of the dollar dipped. People would be like, whoa, that is not stable at all. So this is what I felt for. Anyway, that was just one of the things that it's been popping in my head for a while. And this is why I think we keep seeing renewed numbers of this company and that company and so increasing their Bitcoin holdings. I think the end all will be if the International Monetary Fund starts collecting Bitcoin. That'll mean that it's being accumulated simply to stop runoffs like this. Anyway, in the medium term, the markets were looking fairly bullish early in February. However, things seems to have taken an ugly turn too fast. Once again, I don't think that any of this actually, I think it's just fear and like actual panic in all types of markets, which is really annoying because there's no, like, this and the Plus token thing aside, Bitcoin's fundamentals are great, completely through the roof. There's no real reason why market should be moving down. And it says in the midst of a bullish fundamental, one of the reasons that can be attributed to the selling pressure is from scams. According to that, Plus token scams more significant. The sell-off is so significant. People selling off the tokens, etc., etc. As reported earlier on CoinGape, on the 11th of February, about 20,000 Bitcoin were moved to one larger address, which was further distributed to smaller accounts. Next movement, so-and-so, they're still talking about that. In total, about 187,000 Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies such as Ether were siphoned into the scam in the later half of 2018. Money, Ergo reports, Bitcoin mixers. Furthermore, the Mt. Gox settlement is also nearing its end. For those of you who have no idea what the Mt. Gox thing is, or just maybe need a little bit of a refresher, in 2000 something or other, 12, 13, 14, it was many years ago when we didn't have a large amount of cryptocurrency exchanges. There was one cryptocurrency exchange that was hacked several times. Nothing was done about it. Apparently there was one major hack. I think people managed to get some of the coins back, but the issue was that this was also many years ago when the price of Bitcoin was peanuts compared to what it currently is. And all the people who lost their money, in most cases, people lost anywhere from 15 to 10,000 Bitcoin. They want their money back. So the settlement was spoken about in 2018 and 2019, i.e. the coins that were recovered and or some type of a US dollar equivalent would be given back to the actual people who lost their coins. Furthermore, the Mt. Gox settlement is also nearing its end. The trustees and the creditors are currently liable to around 114,000 Bitcoin that was left from the 850,000 Bitcoin hack. Leading on-chain analyst David Puel had warned of a possible sell-off in March due to this. According to recent reports, a settlement of about 88% in US dollar value has been proposed to the victims of the hack by the trustees of the Japanese defunct exchange. New York-based Fortress Investment Group is willing to stake claims on all of the 141 Bitcoin by paying out the investors. So here's where it leads. The fear has been, if these people get their money back, I'll put it to you this way. Imagine I gave you, or rather you gave me $1 and I said, give me 5 years. I'll make you a millionaire. I see you again in 5 years and I'm in possession of $14 million. And I say, do you want your $14 million back? You're probably going to say yes, as the value of your money has skyrocketed. The idea has been, if these people had 5,000 Bitcoin and they got those Bitcoin for $1 each, And those 5,000 Bitcoin are now worth several millions of millions. Odds are they're probably, I'll be honest with you, I would sell off half of them to make myself an instant mega millionaire, and I would go about my life and I would lock up the rest of the Bitcoin. However, a lot of people may have lost trust, faith in the system, the economy, or whatever. And the idea was that if there were 140,000 Bitcoin that were given back to these people, they would simply sell off all of it. If we see prices move downward off of movements on chain of 10,000 Bitcoin to an exchange, we had one time, I think someone, whatever, sent 5,000 Bitcoin to an exchange and the prices slumped. So imagine 140,000 Bitcoin over the course of a month hitting Kraken, Coinbase, Binance, and whatever other names are out there, and them all being sold off. That would be detrimental. So that's part of the fear. However, I'm sure there are many companies who are trying to do this. They're trying to actually get all of the Bitcoin in Bitcoin and actually pay the people back in US dollars. Which goes, I didn't even read this earlier, which goes back to exactly what I was saying. You cannot have a sell-off like this in the market. You have to have some type of the word isn't cushion. So as it stands, things right now are a complete mess. I was really hoping that the Mt. Gox situation would have been cleared up in 2018. No such luck. As it's, I think the timing of everything is just a bit ridiculous. Between the what was it called? Something scam. I don't know. Plus token scam. The Mt. Gox thing ending. The world's economy faltering. It's just everything. If everything had taken place over the course of a year, it wouldn't have been as bad. But for those of you who were wondering, these seem to be the answers as to why crypto prices, at least at the moment, are down, along with the rest of the world also just purely panicking. Right, so that was the bulk of the news, if you will, because it's, relatively the most important. For those of you wondering or who wanted this, Binance has listed USDC for deposits on its United States branch known as Binance.us. The new listing took effect on Wednesday, allowing users easily to convert to Boost, that is BUSD, that is Binance US dollar. According to a statement made on their website, with such a measure, Binance US will allow its users to start trading or holding Boost. The conversion feature can be found under Buy Crypto on the homepage, the company said, and they makes it clear. So they'll have Bitcoin to US dollar, Zilliqa, XRP, Binance Coin, Algorand, and Ether, all with their coin. I guess this more goes to if you are in the United States. A lot of people... once again, I did not know that Binance US was not fully available throughout the United States, but I guess it does make a bit of sense after all the stuff we've been reading. So if you do use Binance US, you've been looking for a new stablecoin, well, there you go. And to kind of finish things off on a much, I want to say a much lighter note. It's just more of a more realistic note. It says Ethereum whales seem to be preparing for Ethereum 2.0 by accumulating Ether in their wallets. This is evident by the fact that the top 100 Ethereum wallets are holding nearly 25% of the asset's current supply. This observation was made by blockchain data analyst firm Santiment that made a Twitter post regarding this observation. Santiment stated that the concentration of Ether among the top wallets suggests that Ether whales are accumulating. Santiment argued that the large investors currently believe that the token is currently being undervalued and hence think it is a good time to buy for a medium to long-term hold. However, at the same time, the company warned that signs of accumulation do not guarantee a spike in the asset's price across the short term. The company stated that sometimes it takes a bit of time for the price to rise after accumulation rises. The news, and I haven't mentioned it over the last week because it's heavily speculative. We got news before that Ethereum 2.0 was supposed to launch in July, summertime, somewhere around there. I saw a couple of reports that apparently, this is why I said speculation, that it's ready to go, and it just is being heavily tested right now. Why do I keep using fake words? It's being heavily tested right now, and within the next couple of weeks, we could get an indication that it could be launched around June, which is why we've seen this excessive on-chain activity and why we've seen the larger addresses for Ethereum stockpiling more coins. I mean, even more so, just a matter of, remember all the companies and stuff like that we were talking about over the last couple of weeks who announced openly that they were going to be using the actual Ethereum blockchain, not a blockchain built from Ethereum, but actual Ethereum 2.0. It could be leading to something very big. And also, logically, you would like to have 5,000 Ether, if not more, to be able to stake like a madman. The more Ether you have, the more you can stake, the more money you make. And I'm certain if cryptocurrencies do, in fact, succeed, that this will be the new way to make money. It'll be by staking. I think we're going to see a runoff in the next 10 to 20 years of actual jobs as many things become roboticized or automated in some sort of way. I mean, you walk into supermarkets sometimes now, and there are no workers. You can go, there are pizza shops that first of all, there are pizza shops that already make their own pizza with robots, and they're figuring out a way to actually slide it into like a self-driving car to have it delivered to you through an app. So self-driving cars, self-driving trucks, what have you. I assume within the next, like I said, 10 to 20 years, if crypto takes off, this will be the new way of making money, whether people are simply joining Coinbase to join a staking pool, or this becomes the new kind of dividend thing. Anyway, right. That is the Ethereum news for today. And I mean, it doesn't, how do I say this? This is good news if you're holding Ether, because the news that I keep seeing that I just haven't spoken about before, I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned it once, is that Ethereum hit $1,400 last time there was a bull market, and it is expected, if Ethereum 2.0 goes off without a hitch, and the issuance rate does drop of Ether after the actual upgrade and the proof of staking thing. Is that a woman standing by the water? Oh, it's a child. It's like, what are they? Anyway, that Ethereum's price could go anywhere from 4,000 to 10,000 per coin. This is, of course, speculation, but the numbers do make sense, as we now have hundreds of companies who are actually planning on using Ethereum, when in 2017 it was like 5. So yeah. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Stoyer, Josh Gorsica, Chongololo Tsongololo, Mr. Pickles, Nostromo, John Sarson, the Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Barebones Mining, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mohamed Maroni, Massive Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Milweezy, Crypto Artist, Goldie 3D, Nicholas Renault, One Piece, One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick Kanai, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto NBA Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Man, Jalavodi, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, his chest every day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arfmedic17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger, Machonisa on Crypto with Lionel, Prayla Michelle, URL, and hold on, I have to sneeze. Thank you all very, very much for your support. You may notice my voice is better. Still some dryness here and there, if you will, but I'm trying to keep it at the same tone because it's been working the last 2 days. It's only getting better. At the moment, the entire market's down, except for Chainlink and Leo. Wow. $881,000 worth of 24-hour volume. Bitcoin is currently down, is at $7,914. Currently down 9.37%. Ether is down 11%. XRP is down 10%. You kind of get the idea. I am actually waiting and I will tell you this honestly, I am waiting to see what happens after the markets open in the States, because I'm wondering if I planned on buying more crypto this morning, and I said no. Prices are down, and prices are anticipated to go down even further, not in this market, but in other markets, as they open. If other markets open and they drop and crypto drops, I will probably then buy. I've been buying the whole way up or down, but prices look a bit too panic selly right now. I feel like personally they should be a lot higher, but I felt that way for a while. At least some of the assets that are actually being used, I feel like they are tremendously undervalued. So if we do end up seeing a $7,400 Bitcoin, if not a 76 or a 72, I will be buying, because panic does not last forever. Eventually, people look at the metrics and say that things are oversold, and they go, yeah, that should be about 7,000 higher than it currently is, and then mum's the word. So I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day. I mean, despite all of this, like, this is a lot. We normally have the news that we normally have is relatively jolly, but it's impossible to avoid this news right now. Just make sure to take care of yourselves. Make sure to, I mean, depending on how you invest, maybe pay attention to your investments a bit more. I'm not a panic seller. I just simply hold, like, everything I have. I refuse to be one of the people who panic sells. I don't pay attention for a week. I look back at the prices. I sold, I lost money. But everyone has a different investment strategy. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. Yeah, it's only Monday. Have a good Monday. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.